Powered by Riverside FM.
All right, so coming into the season, we wanted to collaborate with some of the people that contribute to Browns media and give us all the information regarding our hometown team that we so religiously consume year-round. This next gentleman has a blog and has built himself a decent following on social media. He does a great job covering the Browns and supporting the team. You know him on Facebook as the Cardiac Dogs Podcast. Please welcome super fan and friend of the show, Dewey Perry. Dewey, how are you? How are you? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing great, guys. How are you doing?
Good.
Can't complain.
So first and foremost, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started covering the Browns.
So like most of us who root for this miserable franchise, I've just been a lifelong fan, born and raised in Cleveland. I started, it was a birthday present to myself a couple years ago. I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago. I would just come home from work and, everybody I worked with was Browns fans. So we'd get riled up at the lunch table, talk about stuff. I'd go home and just kind of unload all this random fun facts to my girlfriend, or my ex-girlfriend now. And she, at one point after a couple of months, was just like, will you shut up? I will pay what's necessary for you to talk to people who give a crap. And I was like, well, so like literally 24 hours later, I was just like, I just made a Facebook page, and I was like, all right, I'll just info dump random stuff here. And it was rather vulgar and really unorganized when I started. And it was just take share a clip or article from somebody else and then write my little 2 cents. And for whatever reason, other Browns fans decided that I was worth a like or a comment or the inevitable, telling me to F myself. So.
Yeah.
It does feel like some of those best conversations happen over lunch, right? Like you almost need a camera crew and recording softwares to just watch people's lunches, because there's a lot of Browns discussions I feel like that happen during that time.
Absolutely. And usually with your friends, where it's like the time that you're away from the desk and you're able to kind of say what you want to say. Yeah. So I totally get it. So you said you've been a Browns fan for life. And you kind of just started this thing as more or less a dumping ground for all of the fun or cruel times you've had with the Browns. So how, I guess with what you're building here, what's next for you? Like, where are you trying to go from here covering the Browns?
I have no direction currently. I've just been blessed for people to keep liking and commenting. After stupid shares and posts, I'm just kind of feeling around in the dark. Hopefully I have a love for broadcasting and podcasts, stuff like this. I've done a handful of smaller projects that just I've helped build and then moved away from because I got burnt out on it. So I don't know, maybe someday I'll be as sophisticated as you guys and have a live stream or something. Who knows? I mean, now's the day and age where everybody, especially on the internet, can have their 2 cents. So I obviously won't have a setup as luxurious as your guys. I am absolutely floored in how beautiful that setup is. All props to you guys. I love the Chubb jersey, by the way. So that would be
you're making me blush over here.
I know, yeah. This is listen. We didn't bring you on just to gush over our studio, although we do appreciate it. We do. It was. I'm sure being at least in the space and understanding what kind of work goes into this type of thing. Just we don't like to talk about it all that much, but it does take a lot of hard work to get to a point like this. But no, we really love what you're doing, and even if you are feeling in the dark, you're feeling in the dark the right way because
you got a nice following.
You got a nice following. People resonate with what you're saying, and I think it's entertaining. You still, I still see you out there dropping, like you said, articles and giving your 2 cents and doing what you do. So I appreciate what you're bringing, and it's one of those things. It's like, not everybody wants to hear what the dudes on ESPN are saying. A lot of people just want to talk to another Browns fan or hear what another common Browns fan, another normal or super fan in your Case, what they think about the team and what's going on at the current moment. So
those guys are disconnected, right? I mean, I'd rather hear from people that have an emotional attachment to the team that I love.
Even the ESPN beat writer for the Browns, like, you think he spends all his time around the Browns, so you probably don't even live here.
Only because his paycheck's coming from right now.
Yeah. So
I absolutely agree with that. I feel like anybody you can turn on your radio and kind of listen to they'll talk about kind of layups, just not to make a baseball analogy, but just meatball topics. I've seen one earlier about the Browns have an issue at left tackle. Like, okay, I appreciate your 2 cents here, but I have eyes. I can see that also. I didn't need the expert analysis there to tell me, things I already seen. But I think when you talk to actual fans and people who, the people who buy the tickets, not the people who get the press passes and all that, the people who buy the tickets and spend their hard-earned money, give you a more from the heart, in-depth analysis of things. And then there's always the hot take artists that say something stupid and you're like, oh, this will be fun to make fun of you.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we don't end up on the other side of that. On your page.
I've done a great job of that. Don't worry.
We might. We say some dumb things. But no, so let's talk about the Browns a little bit. I mean, that's what we're all here for. So what do you think, obviously 2 preseason games in and the entire offensive line is dead. But what do you think the Browns are going to do this season, and how do you see them finishing up in the AFC North?
I'm actually worried, first off, with the HBO in-season division thing, because if this turns into a tire fire, I don't want to see it live. I don't want there to be record of us just watching it all go downhill. It's worrisome because $230 million later, we still are uncertain what's going to happen at the quarterback division or the quarterback position. Flacco's not here. It seems like all the production has come. I was a big Watson fan before the trade, when he was in when he was in college, when he was drafted, obviously before all the off the field things. But when we traded for him, it might have been one of my happiest days as a fan. And since then, it's been downhill. I would love to see him be healthy, and at least for us to have a full rendering of what's going to happen with him moving forward. Because still now we don't know if he'll get an extension, if he'll be healthy, if he'll be any part of what he should have been, what we all hoped for, or at least what Andrew Berry and the ownership, the ownership group hoped for when they signed the check. So it's just, again, as a Browns fan, the most important position on the field is our currently most unstable. And everybody's now looking back, and we remember how little we appreciated Joe Thomas's Iron Man ability.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of Deshaun, so do you have a best case scenario expectation for Deshaun? Obviously, there are a lot of good quarterbacks, not only in the AFC, but across the league at this point. Do you have a best case scenario expectation for, hey, if things all go right, he could be a top 10, top 15 guy?
If all things go right, it's hard, especially in the AFC, because there's a lot of great talent, and even more so, there's a lot of great young talent. Thankfully, all the new contracts have made his average per year a bit different. Everybody thought it was the worst contract. Now, since then, what is it? Just about every other quarterback has gotten paid, so it doesn't look as bad. But I'm hoping he turns out to be top 8 in our division. I feel that, plus what Schwartz has been able to do with this defense, completely reinvigorating the intensity and the fear factor you get on offense going against, I'll just say the best defense, because that's what it is. We have,
statistically, you're not wrong. So
as much as Steelers fans are going to cry in their bowl of Cheerios about that, the defensive player of the year, that's right. Suck it, Watt. I love you, but not enough. It's the best defense. A healthy Chubb, great defense, at least average special teams. We have a kicker, guys. We don't have to play that game no more. And so Watson just has to essentially go out there and be game manager, but hopefully he's able to find himself at least a little bit, and he's able to, show 70% of what he was. Because if you give me game manager with the upside that Watson could have, it's a scary team all around. And it's not just, hey, Watson, go out and save us. It's, all right, we have everything built around you perfectly. Watson, just don't screw it up and give us a couple magical plays here and there. You could be looking at easily a deep playoff run with everything going right. The nicest thing is, even in the down periods, Stefanski has been able to win with just about anybody at quarterback. Remember, we won a game with P.J. Walker last year, a guy.
That's true. The human turnover.
A guy who might end up being a fifth grade math teacher here in a year or two. So,
yeah, we literally referred to him as the human turnover. So, no, I will say this. So, like, your take on Deshaun Watson is, I like the way that you even just approach talking about it, because it's kind of where I'm at, and it's so, you get one side or the other when it comes to Deshaun Watson most of the time. Like, you either get, we hate him or we love him, and those sides will really defend that to the end. There's not a lot of people that are in the middle, and I like that you're just kind of taking it with, like, I want him to be good, but so far he hasn't shown us what's good. And I respect the fact that somebody that can be objective about it and just say, I'm just going by what he's shown us so far. Forget all the other stuff. What he's shown us so far is that he probably wasn't worth that $230 million, but we still have him under contract, so hopefully he can get better and continue to improve. And maybe in the end, if we make a run somewhere, it will be worth it.
And I think you're spot on with the rest of the team, right? And that's what's so frustrating, I think, is just about not knowing about Deshaun is, obviously you've been through all the down years, right? We've been the dumpster fire for a long time where just everything was bad. And it feels like for the first time, like, we're not waiting for that first round pick or this guy to come save us. Like, you have a team that is capable of winning a lot of games in this league. The only thing you're unsure about is, do we have a quarterback that could just be average?
Yeah.
The craziest thing, especially last season, is we went into last season, same thing. Hopefully Watson can step up and show us at least what he can be at a max. I don't think he'll ever be what he should have been when he was drafted, or even with his time with the Texans. There was a time last season, which I don't like the fact that I'll have to admit this now on air, that I said that I love Joe Flacco. And there was like 15 years of my life, which is about half of my damn life, where I swore up and down I would drop kick him. Now I'm a 300+ pound man. I promised Jesus himself I would drop kick that man if I ever met him. And now I said publicly that had he got us to the Super Bowl, I would have had his face tattooed on my rear end. So, things happen fast. Life happens a lot fast during a season.
That's real love.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about that is just, it's not that he played great. He was just a spark plug. And with him, getting off the couch and jumping into the game, we were still able to be exciting and make a playoff run. So we look at it, we don't need spectacular at quarterback. If we're going to be honest, if we're all playing Madden, which I know football is not Madden, if we looked at it and we're like, oh, Watson has played, 12 games over 2 years. There's a lot of wasted money. We would be trying to offload that contract in Madden. We'd be like, let's find a Tyrod or somebody to get us through till we find somebody else. But this is real money, and we can't just offload it. So we're hoping, I think as a Browns fan, you just have to hope the guy who's wearing our jersey, whoever suits up in orange and brown, at least goes out there and looks comparable to everybody else in the league. And I think he has a great athletic ability. He's obviously shown the ability to play the quarterback position in the NFL. He's capable of doing, that. He's a leader. Remember, Dabo called him Michael Jordan of the football field. So can we at least get great value version of what he should have been? I really hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how fun was that stretch though with Joe Flacco?
Oh man, you talk about being, embarrassed that you're admitting that on on air right now, but just go back and watch some of our episodes from last season and some of those segments where we talked about Joe Flacco.
I
was like
gushing.
Oh my gosh, it's like I agree with you. As much as I hated him when he was on the Ravens, I loved him so much when he played for the Cleveland Browns.
That guy ruined so many Sundays of my life.
Yeah, but last year was just in its entirety. Just the odds that were stacked against the Browns coming down the stretch, and the fact that Joe Flacco and Kevin Stefanski, I'll give him his props too. That those two men held that team together like they did, and just made magic happen week after week after week. And Jim Schwartz, I'll give it to Jim Schwartz too. So those three guys. Just, I mean, it was literally magical.
Yeah.
So
hopefully they can capture some of that this year.
Jim Schwartz put on a masterclass of what you do defensively, at least for the next couple of years. Much like with the Legion of Boom and all great defensive things, people catch up. The ability of a great coach is to add ancillary and wrinkles into it, so you stay above, stay above the curve, which Jim is easily top 5 defensive coordinators in the league, and he has been for a long time. So obviously he's able to do it. The funniest thing I can say about the Flacco run, which it's still weird to think like, oh, it's the Flacco era, but it was like 8 weeks.
Listen, real quick, Dewey, we refer to this time frame as the legend of Cleveland Browns quarterback Joe Flacco. So
absolutely. Listen, absolutely. He will only make the NFL Hall of Fame because of his time here in Cleveland. Absolutely. I will say that right now. Nothing else before it mattered. It's okay. It's just like if you marry a stripper. Nothing else before it happened. None of it matters. You're here where you belong. That is the only jersey I care about. Even if it's a small patch on his bust that says Cleveland, I'm perfectly fine with that. But that time, remember, he just did the easiest thing. He was like, screw it. We're just going to throw the long ball, run the ball where we can. And, hey, this guy named Njoku is pretty damn good at this thing we call football. And Amari Cooper, who knew this guy was great? He'll just go for 300 yards, completely carry the passing game, get screwed over by a ref by being out of bounds, quote unquote, 10 yards, not even close to the boundary. He just did the simple stuff. Hey, we got a good receiver, throw him the ball. Great tight end, throw him the ball. That's my only issue is always with Stefanski. He might try to outthink himself, and that was a nice thing with Flacco. Flacco was just like, screw that. We're just going to throw the ball to the big athletic tight end and the great wide receiver outside. Could you imagine that run had Nick Chubb been healthy? We would still be celebrating. Cleveland downtown would still be on fire from that Super Bowl run.
100%.
Oh yeah. So shifting gears here just a little bit. Well, I guess I don't think you ever told us, where do you think the Browns are going to finish in the AFC North?
Your record prediction?
See, this is perfectly. I just rant too much.
We do too. It's okay.
Record prediction. Oh, we're going to get to the thing where it all depends on, do we have a healthy Watson? You know what? Positive energy. Watson will play, 15 of the 17 games. We'll go.
Hell yes.
12-5.
Manifest it right here. 12-5.
I like it. 12-5. That's strong. Do we win the division or what? How do we finish?
I think we'll have a very late. Well, who do we play last game? Is it the Ravens last? I think week 18 or something. But it will come down. I think the time is TBD. It will come down to one of them great face-offs where it's winner takes the division. Week 18, since we're putting positivity out there, might as well just make it that. It'll be us and the Ravens. Winner takes division, and winner might take division. And here, screw it, we'll throw caution to the wind. Winner takes division, and we'll definitely represent the division in the AFC Championship game.
Wow. Oh, I like that. That'll be a flex game in the prime time too. Browns Ravens.
Yeah. To answer your question a little bit more, coming down the stretch, week 14 at Pittsburgh, week 14 at Pittsburgh, week 16 at Cincinnati, and week 18 at Baltimore.
Yeah. We're gonna go into week 18 with a must win against the Ravens for the division.
Nice.
I think 12.
I'm excited about football season.
I think 12 is a strong number, just because the AFC North is going to be competitive. I have a hard time believing there's going to be an AFC North team that wins 13 games.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So now shifting gears, now that we know who you think is going to win the division here, it's the big talk. It's what everybody's been talking about around Cleveland as far as the team goes. We'll just ask it out front. Dome or lakefront?
Oh, the issue is, at heart, I know everybody would love to see the Browns stay on the lakefront. It is, for everybody who's not a Browns fan, will talk all the crap that they want and be like, oh, it's a mediocre franchise or whatever. It might be the most scenic view in all of Cleveland sports to just look out for, well, it might just be beer goggles, but look out from the Muni lot and see that beautiful, rather Madden generic stadium just plastered silhouette across the lake. But it might be my favorite view, to be absolutely wasted and look at that stadium and be like, that is us. That is Cleveland Browns is on the lakefront. Do I think it will stay there? No, I don't think there's a chance in hell, just because the political city stuff. I don't think the city itself wants it there anymore. They offer just enough to go back to the residents or Browns fans and be like, well, we tried, but I think we'll have a dome in Brook Park. As a Brook Park resident, I am absolutely fine with that.
Makes it a little bit easier to swallow, huh?
Oh yeah. Listen, I'm a fan of the newer business model. Like, you've seen many teams like New England and obviously the Cowboys, and even Green Bay do, where they build the stadium and then they buy up all the land around it. And the ownership group, that's how you can tell an ownership is now invested in the current and long-term future of the team, is because they're buying up stuff, adding restaurants and hotels, and trying to get a Super Bowl there. They're now ingrained, ideally, into the culture of the city, the team, the fans, the people who love it. And I look forward to it. For everybody who talks what they want about the Haslams, if it happens and they build Browns Disneyland out in Brook Park, that will be their staying point of, this is our franchise. We're not going nowhere. The team isn't, going to be uprooted. If the furthest my team moves is to Brook Park, I'm fine with that. I don't even have to catch the Rapid at 5 a.m. in the morning to get wasted.
Yeah. No, and I like what you said about developing the whole area, because I think one thing that a lot of Clevelanders and just Northeast Ohioans in general don't understand is the city right now, to your point, is saying this is just enough to make it look like we tried. And they're trying to paint the Haslams as unreasonable, or that they don't want to work with the city, or they're working against the city. But I think what's lost in all this is, regardless of if it's in Brook Park, with revenue sharing and everything else going into this, it's a huge investment in the entire region. And you've seen even bar owners downtown. I just saw this past week a whole group of bar owners downtown. They started taking pictures preseason week. They took pictures all the way up until the end of the first quarter. And they said, look, it's log jam down here. We can't even get patrons into our bars unless they're walking. It would, in which case, like, especially towards the end of the season, like, who wants to park and walk over here? So, a lot of the bar owners and restaurant owners in downtown Cleveland are even saying, if they go to Brook Park, it's close enough that everybody's still coming downtown before the games and hanging out and doing things. Maybe not everybody, but still a good portion of them. And then you have the people that aren't going to actually go to the game, that are going to sit at a restaurant or a bar and watch the game. Yeah. And that's where they come in, and those are filled instead of there being traffic and nobody's able to get in there because everybody's trying to get to the game. So there's this big contingent of restaurant owners and bar owners that are finally coming out and saying, look, Brook Park makes sense. Make it happen. And to your point, they all say the same thing. They say, we would love to keep them downtown, but it makes the most sense to move them out of downtown.
And two things real quick. So I love that we're talking about Brook Park. We just launched our Brook Park Browns merchandise today.
Yes.
So we have shirts and hats, things.
Brook Park football established 2029.
Brook Park is Brook Park. And I actually love what you said about the view, because this was kind of my hang up. The view of, it is classic, right? If Monday Night Football's in town and they're outside and they take the shots of the stadium, it's on a lake. It's just like it makes Cleveland look like almost nicer than it is. Like it's like
not that it's not nice. It's great. Like, we love Cleveland,
but people that aren't in Cleveland have their perception of Cleveland, and it's kind of adds this whole dynamic of like, oh, Cleveland is a good place to live. It's cool. It's nice. This lake is great. And I've always been hung up on this, like, yeah, you're gonna have this cool dome, but like what's Monday Night Football going to drone fly over and see? Because it's just going to be Brook Park around this giant stadium, I
mean, they'll probably do what they do for like the Cowboys. They'll still fly over Cleveland, and then they'll come over and just get the stadium.
Fair enough.
So it is what it is. No, but we really appreciate your take on that. I think we're all kind of in the same line of thinking when it comes to the stadium. I mean, as ideal as it would be to keep it on the lakefront, it just doesn't make that much sense. And we all like shiny new things, and that's what the dome is going to be. And I think we're all excited about it.
It'll be nice to go to a game in a sweater and not have to bundle up with 3 blankets. And
yeah,
that was going to be my only other point. Was going to be for everybody who goes downtown and complains that it's cold or that I don't want to wear a jacket, or I don't want to take my kids when the season matters because. Yes, there's 3 feet of snow. We understand. We know we've been here forever. You're holding on to, well, it's part of the elements. Before Stefanski era, guess what, guys? We sucked in the elements.
Exactly.
So why not build Disneyland, via Browns and completely, make a stadium that is made for the fans? Not the NFL didn't rush and make a generic Lego brick by brick stadium on the lakefront. It's going to be something beautiful. I don't expect it to be as good as the video that they posted, but even halfway would be nice. You'll actually get, you can take your family and have Wi-Fi access and not hate your experience because you love a team. And for everybody who forgets how important money is to a city to help things around it, there was this guy from Akron who came back. His name was LeBron, and he was the greatest stimulus for the city of Cleveland downtown. Can you imagine what a successful playoff, perennial playoff team Browns would be for the city of Brook Park, Parma, everything around it? It would be like the Roman or the Roman Empire, just in Ohio. But it would be beautiful. And this is also coming from me who lives here, so it is what.
Fair.
I love the idea that the Brown Stadium is Madden Generic Stadium 3.
It's funny. I had never ever thought to describe it that way, but that's exactly what it is. It's like you go through Generic Stadium 3, Generic Stadium 4. Like that's what it is.
Yeah, because remember, the NFL rushed to build the stadium before we technically ever got the team back. They were just like, we know it's going to Cleveland. Quick, let's get it up. And it's been just kind of, Lincoln logs ever since. Every year, they're talking about, we need $100 million to fix this and fix that. How about we just build it right?
Right.
Agreed.
Right. And with that, we all could rant all day long about everything Cleveland Browns. But we are going to wrap this up. Listen, Dewey, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. We really appreciate all the support you've shown us thus far. And good luck with everything that you're doing. I know you're going through some potential rebranding. You're going to be looking into new ventures yourself. So definitely good luck with all that. We'll be following along. But yeah, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. We really appreciate it.
We'll have to do it again soon.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, guys. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
This is Dewey Perry with the Cardiac Dogs podcast. You're listening to Burning River Sportscast. Go Browns.